At the time, I was not proud of my story. I was really broke and single and lonely out there. But now looking back, it really has given me that motivation and inspiration that I would never had if I didn't go through what I went through. So yeah, growing up as an Asian person, my parents were very controlling. I ended up rebelling, running away from home, ended up having a baby at the age of 20. And that was, I guess my life was just full of drama and, dating the wrong people and even having to be, got kicked out of home because my parents were so like embarrassed and like, get out of my house. You embarrass our family. And so I really struggled as like, how do I live in this world when you have no support? But it was one of the best lessons, because when I realized I couldn't even rely on my own family, I just had no other way but to like look forward. And it was good in a sense where I had my son to kind of like, how do I make you proud? And I remember telling him, one day I'm going to be successful and we're going to be able to travel anywhere. And son, I was always very dreamy, but I didn't come from a entrepreneurial family at all. If anything, my parents were trying to pull me down, going, please don't dream. Can you just be normal? You're not going to get the dream because we're not born to be rich. I swear the way they were thinking was just crazy. But I also didn't have any role model that said you can achieve it. I was just, I don't know, there was this faith in me that was like, I deserve more and everyone else has arms and legs and I'm the same as them. So why is it that I can't succeed? So I think with that faith, I was like just looking forward. And despite partying, rebelling, I think there was just something in me that always go, okay, get back on track, right? And so I ended up starting, I finished uni, got a job like everyone else, but because I had a kid so young, I realized how challenging it is to have a kid and work. So in my early 20s, I was like, I've got no life. I'm always working all day and I have no time for my son, no time for fun. And so I was like, I have to start a business. And so I went on a journey of starting a business with no idea. And I think when I talk to a lot of people now in their late 30s and when they have kids, they're like, oh, how do you work from home? How do you have like lifestyle? And I felt like I kind of experienced it at that age because of my child. And so I went into the online business space, zero idea, and just really took one step at a time, just whatever opportunity came to me, give it a go, and then stumbled across outsourcing and working with overseas people. And it became kind of my, superhero power when people said, how do you outsource? I'm like, oh, I thought it was easy. You just upload a job and you get people to do it. But it became like, no, I don't know how to do that. And so for the last decade, I've been specializing in the game of remote work or offshoring. And so that's what I've been known for. I was like anybody, I was a bit shocked at when the pandemic hit and, clients started to cancel and you got a little bit delusional, like, oh my God, what if I don't have a business tomorrow? But yeah, of course, a month in and you're like, hang on a minute, I have in the best position because now everyone needs to work online. And you're right, there has been more, people are more open-minded, but at the same time, I would say that it's very saturated. It's been over a decade or more of online remote working, places like Upwork and onlinejobs.ph have been around forever. So, and it's such an easy game to get into as well, because you can upload a job, get people to do it. So there's actually a lot of competition in my field. But luckily, when I'm not in this for money, I'm in this for how do I transform people's businesses? How do I make my staff life better? And so when you come from that place, you're always innovating. So we're coming up with new ways to serve our client other than giving them a staff member. We're creating more ways for the staff members to feel really at home and feel like this is such a great place to work. So then they put in more effort. And so that's how we kind of survive and thrive. And I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned is don't do it because, online business is easy and it looks like it makes a lot of money and get cheap people to do things. But if you have that mindset, you won't succeed in this kind of business. I think culturally, Asians are just more like told to follow instructions, listen to the elderly and someone who's been around longer. They won't, when they moved to Australia as well, they didn't know any English. So they basically just started sewing from home. So they just it's almost like they just live in this little bubble. And so culturally, fear of failure, fear of never put your hands up because if you get it wrong, it's embarrassing. So when I went to school in Vietnam up to the age of 9. So I know what it was like. It was like, I was the shyest kid when I came to Australia. Everyone who I tell that is like, you shy, what? But I was. And if I stayed in that environment, I reckon I'll still be the same. But when I went to Australia, the teachers kept complaining at every teacher interview, your daughter needs to talk, she's so shy. And I was so frustrated with myself. And I was like, all right, I got to really do something about it. And then I kind of, overcame that cultural barrier by just practicing the skill set of public speaking. And so what I've learned is that it doesn't matter what your culture is. It doesn't matter if your parents brought you up in whatever way. It's actually just a skill set you learn. And then you go, oh, I didn't realize I actually like that thing. I actually like talking. I got to the point where I wanted to do acting, and it's weird. Even videos was one of the awkwardest thing I ever did. I remember starting a few videos and I was just like, stop, start. And like, oh my God, I'm embarrassed. And then now people don't believe me. You do videos because you're good at it and you're a pro. No. I did videos for a long time. And then now I finally like it and become good at it. Yeah. I was surrounded in the Vietnamese community, like my aunties and, just my parents, right? My parents were very strong. So it was like, not only did they not support, they would do anything to stop me. They're like, Lynn, and they get angry. I remember my dad going, if you ever get rich, I'll jump off this balcony and kill myself. And so I used to be just crying and upset, but because you have nowhere else, you just turn to yourself. And so I literally just have my own faith. And I remember telling my aunties, but some aunties were like, yeah, good on you. I hope that you do succeed because they'll be good for me. But other than that, somehow in my world, I didn't even like books back then. I never read books. I never got exposed to anything. But it was in my, early 20s or whenever I was a bit more open was when I, read my first book. And I would say just self-learning from mentors, from authors, and then eventually, YouTube, watching people. And then but nowadays, of course, I'm like, where have you been all along? There's so many people that I meet that I'm learning from. And so my story is that if I could get through it and had no examples and whatever, it's like the only thing you need is believing in yourself. My first business was a nail polish brand. Okay. I was very ungirly back then. I never wear nail polish. I was just very, like a tomboy. But that first opportunity was a friend gave me some nail polish because he has a beauty supply business. And I remember trying it out. I'm like, oh, where is this made? She's like, Australia. Hey, how much is the cost price? Oh, $1 something. I'm like, whoa, that's so cheap. And if I could sell this for $15, I think I'm going to be a millionaire. And I said, I worked it out because I'm very optimistic, and which is good in a way, delusional in a way, because you just give everything a go. And I said, if I could just make $1 from a million girls, I'll be a millionaire, And so I just jumped into that and started that business. And I didn't realize it was a hazardous material. I had an apartment that I turned my second bedroom into this nail polish thing, which is actually not very right. It's not the right thing to do. And then posting it, Australia Post was like not accepting, this kind of product. And this was my new world into online marketing, digital, the SEO. I was like, I've got a website. How come no one's coming in? And so that was my learning. But I failed in that because I had zero passion. I was just like, okay, I think I should put some nail polish on to promote this. And then I woke up feeling really depressed. For that whole year, I was just like, I thought business was my dream, that it was supposed to be fun. It was actually just as bad as waking up to a job. And so I ended up selling that business. But what I did learn from that business was digital marketing, how to actually grow a business online. And the people to help that was, offshoring, using overseas people. But I also didn't know about offshore people at the beginning, right? I paid an Australian company to do my website and I got ripped off. They basically built it on a proprietary platform and never told me. And then when I finished it, they're like, yeah, for any changes moving forward, only we can do it. It's like, wow, yes, it's so wrong. Like if I was to start a business, I would never do that to someone. I would be trying to make sure that I don't tie them up into things or just, not taking advantage of people. So I learned early on that just because you're outsourcing locally, it doesn't mean it's the right thing. It's about just outsourcing smart, knowing what you're doing and then find the right people. So everything I learned from that, the first business was, that's what made me got into outsourcing in the first place. What happened was I asked myself, should I go back to a job? And I actually did apply for a few jobs, and finding a job is just as hard. You're like still competing among so many people. It's still like trying to find clients. So I was like, okay, well, stuff that. And you kind of lose that interest in applying, and then you go back into, okay, what do I do next? So I started a meetup group. Meetup is actually one of the best things for new startups to host a meetup or join meetups. And I created a meetup, and it was called, business startup with zero capital. It literally was that name. It was like, how do you start a business with zero capital? And I said, at first I was like, I have nothing to share. I haven't succeeded. But then I said, that shouldn't stop me. So I said, let's create a meetup group, but it's going to be for members too. You guys join. And if some of you have started a business and you have some expertise, I want you to speak on my stage. And then, so I was going to create this meetup, but serving my audience as well, not just, delivering my expertise. But I quickly realized that because you're hosting as well, people kind of look up to you and go after the event. It's like, oh, what do you do? And blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? I started an e-commerce business, but it didn't work out, but blah, blah, blah. And then they said, I'm starting a business. I'm trying to do my website. And I was like, oh, why don't you do this, do that? And I literally was just giving advice without knowing that I had those knowledge. And then when they said, oh, I don't have time to go and work with these people, so can you do it? Oh, well, that's weird, And then I took on that first job. And that was when I had a few clients before I was like, okay, now I should register a business. And it was kind of really shocking to me. It was like, I thought you start a business and you go look for a client. It's the other way around. Solving the problem, getting the clients, and then worry about it later. Because the thing I did wrong with my e-commerce was spent way too busy trying to prepare trademarking, I don't know, just legal, buying insurance, doing all these things without even having a great product or caring about this business enough. The second business and moving forward, it's always like validating idea. Just get some clients in, solving their problems until you get it, then worry all that legal stuff later on. You don't even have to have an agreement. Just send them an email, tell them the price, and don't take business so serious where you spend too much time being serious and not actually making the money. When you have no way out in life, you just I think that's why I can't regret what my parents did. And, they do say, well, it wasn't for us, they kind of proud as if they intentionally taught me that lesson, but they kind of did it accidentally. But yeah, you kind of just hustle and keep going. And, my business Outsourcing Angel now is a pivot from the marketing agency that I started. The agency was like, let me do your website. I'll work with these offshore people for you. But I was like, this is a little bit unscalable. Like, it's not very scalable. And there were some services that were fixed price. So how do I do this better? And that was when I came up with the idea of like, why don't I just match you directly with these talents and then, teach you how to do it and be there as a HR department. But then don't have to be every day passing on, the project between the client and the staff member. And that became Outsourcing Angel. And so it's always innovating, pivoting. And I think that's what you need to do. Otherwise, businesses fail. It's because you think you just set and forget, but it's never like that. I think the failures I had that I feel like it's still like sour or makes you feel sad usually business partner failures. So it's not that I fail in the business, but every business that I've had so far, I've always had some sort of joint venture or even in business with someone. Because look, at the end of the day, if there's only one of you, it's harder to run a business because you have to wear so many hats.
Yeah.
The advantage is that if that person can, take half of the workload, you can really thrive. And so I found that even my first marketing agency, me and this girl, we were so excited starting this company. And then within that year, we started to fizzle out because our goals were so different. And it was so sad because then you kind of lose this relationship and you think back and it hurts your heart, right? Because you're in it. These are people. These are not, a product you're buying. These are people that you were so excited and spent quality time together. And then, never spoken to her again. And then I had another kind of joint venture partner at my other business, my VA business. And, it was working out for a few years, but not to say that it wasn't dramatic, but still it kind of fizzles out. And I think one of the, the most painful for me is always the partners that you bring on and you have a great time together and then, things don't work out. And I think if you can master that, it's like a marriage, right? Marriage, if you don't have a great marriage relationship, it can kind of hurt you a lot. And I feel like partnerships and when you work, it's things that actually really make you can't sleep at night and try to figure out how to solve it. I still am learning. So with my current video agency called Dawn Media Productions, the latest lesson I learned apart. So I came in going, as long as my partner has the same values, had the same goals, and excited and passionate like me, we're set, right? And if they say that they're familiar with certain, skill set, then it should be good. But what I just learned is that you need partners that actually bring in the skill set that you need. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of friends having a good time together. Recently, a few of my business partners basically just realized that they didn't have the experience or the skills that are needed in this business, but they definitely believed in the business and had the vision, and the value were amazing. And what's good about having the same value is that we solve problems peacefully, right? So I was like, okay, guys, skill set wise, hey, it's not working. And they're like, that's okay. What would you like me to do? I trust you, and da, da, da. So it's been very peaceful in that way, meaning, I feel like I can sleep at night and everything is just nice and we can talk about things, great communication. The only sad thing is, well, there's no partnership in a way where I'm still then back to working on my own, running a company, and then, not having that backup support. So then we're having to like hire more staff and investing in money so that we can actually have the people resource to help me run it. And I think values and kind of the way your ethics in life probably will take you through most of the things, right? But when people are thinking, if it's so opposite, where one is thinking more about money and this is business for me, it's not going to work, and your decision making is going to be, affected in many ways. But of course, so for me now, it's the vision, the goals. For example, 10 years from now, because the first business partner was great value, great skill set, but then the way she saw what a business is as long as I have steady income and working online, I'm happy. And so that's why she was stuck with one client. She's like, oh, why don't we just focus on this one client? I'm like, that's like having a job. And then I'm like, I see a business as, scalable, and you don't have to be in it. And so how do you see what does a business mean? What does success mean? And so that's one key thing. And then of course, values, and then skill set. I think those are the three things. I think we definitely need a great morning routine to really set us up for the day. So I have been optimizing and improving my routine, self-care. Without gratitude, without journaling, without that reflection time, I wouldn't be able to get into that state of mind. And even listening to motivational talks and, feeding your mind, and then exercise, right? Yes, it sounds so generic, you should exercise, like everybody in health, and it's good for you. But seriously, it's actually good when you could do it so much that you start to reap the benefit. And when you don't do it, you can feel the difference. And that's where you go, okay, this is why people say to do that. And so nowadays I wake up at 3 a.m., right? I'm not saying I've always woke up at 3 a.m., but so I've always been trying to hack my productivity and go, okay, how far can I go? And how happier can I be? And so I found my sweet spot now, where I would go to bed at 9 p.m. and wake up at 3 a.m. to 6 a.m., 3 hours of solid time, no kids, and literally 1 hour of self-care, meaning I could really take time to journal and think back of what's happening in my life, and then writing down my prayer, meditating to God, and then just all that stuff that feeds your mind to make you happy. And then by the time it's 6 o'clock, and then of course did some important work. And when you wake up so early, your brain is very switched on. So I can tackle really hard stuff early. And so it becomes very addictive to wake up. But then because you've done all those important stuff, at 6:30, 6 a.m., I can actually do a workout I also do it online. And you can actually have that peace of mind that, okay, I can leave work aside and work out. And imagine by the time everyone wakes up, you've already done everything for your mind and your body and everything. What I was mentioning about my video agency that I started with a few friends was, I kind of got caught up in the fun and started a business, and I'm like, oh my God, it's like I have a newborn again. And then it's like, I've already had grown-up kids, which is my business that's established and it runs without me. And I kind of was like, in a good place. And then all of a sudden, accidental baby, right? And then you kind of really back to startup phase. And I realized that no matter how experienced you are in business, you're launching a new business and you're always constantly pivoting the service offering, trying to, get new people to know about your product. And it's just as much of a hustle as it was, starting my first business ages ago. But of course, you have more faith because if you've done it before, you can do it again. But it definitely takes a lot out of you, right? Because I'm also in that position where I'm like, I don't have to do this because I already got a business and it pays me. So why am I doing this? But then the more every day you get on with it, and you build up a team, and then you start doing some project, you can't help to kind of you have to love your baby kind of, it's one of those things where you wake up at night for your baby, you have to feed it, but you love your baby. And so that's how I feel like with this new business, which we help people with YouTube videos and YouTube marketing and LinkedIn marketing, etc. And it's just, that's what makes me very tired and overwhelmed sometimes recently. So there's still some passion projects that I'm at a place where I really want to give back. So I have a YouTube channel where I'm always sharing content about even how to start an outsourcing agency, how to work at home, because I don't want to die with my secrets. I want more people to start a company and hire more people, whether it's from developing countries or wherever, right? So that's kind of my mission. So I like doing that. It makes me feel good. Writing a book also makes me feel good to share everything that I know. Because my biggest mission also is, how do you get business owners to enjoy the process and be happy at the same time, not forget life? I have my own husband who has been in business for over 20 something years, and he's always stressed out. He's always like, wait, one day we can do this, one day, it's always a one day he'll be happy. And then I just book it in every holiday. I just do things without asking him, just to give him that lifestyle. And I realize that there's a lot of people like him, right? Who just, someday I'll be happy kind of business owner. And so that's why I wanted to do the book too. So yeah, raising a newborn baby, and then, having my own life. Yeah, you did it again. I think it's like, I can't wait to just, especially this new baby, right? Like just seeing it grow up and establish, and then, hiring people, placing them in roles that they love and thrive. A lot of the people I hire at my company are also just people that maybe want to start their own company, they're freelancers, and then I kind of bring them in and go, how do you also achieve your goal of freedom and working anywhere you like, but then part of a bigger mission? And so, in 5 years from now, I just want everyone to thrive in their roles and be able to scale myself back, and then, do more mission projects. I regularly travel to the Philippines and do charity work. And so, getting back to what I truly, truly want to do, which is giving back more. Yeah, they're really proud. So on the weekend, I just had my 10-year wedding anniversary. So I literally used it as a way to celebrate life and inspire people to celebrate. And, they're so happy because, 10 years ago when I got married, they were happy because like, hey, she's found a good husband and she seems like she's making good decisions. But of course, 10 years on, in the last 10 years, I've been able to give back a lot. So take them on holidays, buy them a car, do things that they never thought I could, right? And what I wanted to do is, it's not a transaction. It's not a, what did you do for me? Should I do back for you? That I was like, no, I forgave them. I know that they loved me to the point that they want me to not fail. So they stopped me. And when I analyzed that, forgave them by writing my own letter, I never gave it to them, just let it go. I healed myself. And then since then, I've just been building that relationship with them. So yeah, it's really healthy. And they look up to me for advice now. And so it's happily ever after now.